Okay, let me try to do some modal stuff. It's not strict. It's just one way to approach it. And it's the way I kind of look at it. If you think of modal words, everybody's used to D minor. You play fourths, it kind of even hides the fact further that we're trying not to imply this kind of thirds and tritone resolution scenario. So that's so what, right? So characteristic pitch of D Dorian is the major 6, right? So another way to play modally is first we could hang in just D minor. When I do that tritone, I'm kind of implying the sub 5, so I usually don't want to do that, but we do. That's just what happens. So I can just hang there and use the pitch as a characteristic note in the modal and kind of imply that. So I think Kevin likes to say that's always the root. Every note just wants to go there, but I think of it a little different. I think as that characteristic note becomes a note that wants to, if you put it in a chord, whatever chords have that can be some type of a cadence chord. So like if you're in D minor and you want to hear that, I hear that as a cadence. Don't think tritone resolving and all that stuff. We're just thinking of characteristic chords that want to go back to help imply D Dorian. Right, and the other one would be, it's also, that B's also, it's also C major. So you think of that melody, C, there's the other one. What's the other tune? Is Impressions? I don't remember that. There's the B. That's kind of a harmonic. It creates harmonic movement with the pitch in whatever chord. You can't use like any of the other. You can't use like a G7 even though it has the B in it because the tritone is just too hard to hear. It's just, I mean, you could hear it if you work. I mean, if you get good at playing, you can imply. You can imply it, but you're gonna want to hear the normal function. I want to go to 5-1 or 5 to sub 5 or whatever you want to go to. So you usually try to stay away from the tritone because especially when it's a dominant chord, because it implies that at least till you get used to playing with it. So anyway, if you go to that's one concept. So I can noodle on this. So I just recorded it. I mean Dorian. Now I'm going to use the note as a characteristic pitch. So if I just play in D, and I don't want to have any kind of motion, I just want to noodle in minor, I can, let's see. So now I'm using it to help define the mode. Now I'm using the pitch as a characteristic tone of the mode. That's one way to play it. So another way I could play it is, if we go to the next step, if we think of this, I'm going to change keys on you, but if we think of this as the 4 chord word, now we're in 3, 2, B flat. 2. Now if we're thinking we're going to key in, so this is the 3 chords, Phrygian. Flat 9's a characteristic pitch, right? So if we think of that progression, same principle, this is now, that's part of that tone is in this chord, so it wants to resolve back. Right? there's other chords, but I'm just I'm moving on to the next concept of using modal playing. So now I'm going to use modal interchange. Instead of, I'm going like, this is going to become a Lydian flat 7. So before it's just Lydian. Benson used to play White Rabbit kind of stuff. But now I'm going to call it a Lydian flat 7. Keep that sharp 4, but I'm going to make it a dominant 7. Now I'm going to change modal interchange and call this minor. So I mean, that's Night in Tunisia, right? So anyway, you can think of it as sub 5 to 1 and call the tune in D Dorian. That's just a sub 5 to 1. And it works fine. You can play that harmony. Silver, normal resolution, but you can also think of it modally. Think of we're modally in Lydian flat. Let me record. I'll record something. So I'm thinking I'll do 19 but to do. So now I can play it. So I'm kind of using pitches, but when I think of each of those scales, I'm really trying to think like I'm in the mode. Or just different, you know. I'm trying to think of each one of those not as a sub 5 resolving, but I'm mixing the two. I do use both. I mean, that's what the fun of playing. If you're going to use modal, you have to say so strict in jazz, and we use modal interchange to change chords all the time. So I'm taking that same concept, and when I solo, I'll mix the terms. So it's not true modal playing in the classical definition, but it's pretty true in jazz definition. Anyway, hope that helps.